Hello and welcome to Geek-lish, the language of geek culture. I am your host, Tim Aguiar, and joining me is my spectacular co-host, Heidi Brabo. Heidi.
That's my nickname?
Spectacular Spiderman. It's a comic book. It's also a TV show, so get with it.
I wasn't aware.
Yeah, well.
That was anticlimactic.
I didn't say it was a good nickname. I said it was a nickname.
Oh, okay.
I didn't say it was a good one.
Sorry.
I said I got one.
All right, everybody, to find out more about our podcast, you can go to our website at www.geek-lish. We're on Facebook at geek-lish and Twitter at geek_lish. And we're also on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Blueberry, YouTube, and coming very, very, very soon, YouTube.
Pandora?
Oh, sorry, YouTube and coming soon, Pandora. I already said YouTube.
We're already on YouTube.
Yeah.
I
I was just thinking that I haven't checked it all week to see if we're looped in yet.
Oh, okay.
But you get our emails, right? So it would tell us.
I do, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I gotta check them, but yeah.
When I was listening to our podcast and was editing it, and then throughout the week we were educated by the robot on one of these things. The first thing I would say is I am not a huge fan of teenagers. Regular teenagers.
Okay.
But there are some amazing kids out there doing the work that adults can't seem to get done. Trying to save the world. They're little superheroes, trying to save the planet, the environment, animals. They're, building wells in their villages. They're doing all kinds of stuff. So kids are amazing. Not all kids.
Right. There's a percentage that are.
There's a percentage that are. So I don't want to group all kids, all teenagers in the same group, because there's a lot of kids out there that are, like I said, they're doing a lot of really good things, and I just don't want it to be I'm looping everybody together, because that's not the case.
Right.
And then we had another kind of recant on Magneto. Actually, this isn't really a recant, because our opinion is the same. We still don't think they should change him.
Right. It was just we at the moment didn't realize or didn't know that Jews weren't the only ones who went through the Holocaust. Also, I think specifically homosexual men and primarily.
Yeah, that's primarily. There may have been women. I don't know. I didn't dig that deep, but there was definitely. It was definitely focused on men.
Yeah, and also people of color also went through the Holocaust.
Yes.
So I mean, technically, it is viable to change Magneto, but we still are on the stance that they should not change him. They should keep him the way he is.
Yes. And with that,
gotta say hello and good night to my buddy Oliver, my little Bubba Dubs. I love you. Good night. Sweet dreams. You're a good boy. Daddy loves you. Good night.
that was creepy in my ear, by the way.
I wasn't planning on it. But you know what? A win's a win.
A win's a win.
I'll take it.
Okay.
That's what you get for saying that your nickname was not good.
Okay.
All right? You get the creepiness. The accidental creepiness.
I will promise never to say anything again about that.
I called you spectacular. Leave it to women to not even take a compliment. Right? God. Women.
Oh.
Can't even compliment them.
Now we're going to have to recant on the next episode.
we can recant now.
Yeah, we can just keep doing it with everything we say.
Yeah, I apologize. I don't apologize.
No.
But speaking of spectacular Spider-Man, we got good news. Good news on this podcast? Sometimes. So according to the internet and all the good stuff happening, Spider-Man is back in the MCU.
And you know what I can't stop hearing in my head?
What? Oh, the song that I was singing the other day? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. I just can't stop hearing it. Freaking Tim.
I know, that was going in my head as well. But, yeah. Spider-Man's back.
Freaking hallelujah.
So that's super awesome news. So in an Forbes article by Mark Hughes, Spider-Man is back in the Marvel Cinematic Universe after Sony and Marvel reach a new deal. So they've reached a new deal. So that's good. So in today's news comes after the studios sparred over who was responsible for negotiations breaking down and resulting in initial announcements that Spider-Man would no longer appear in the MCU. I blame Disney for being too selfish, but whatever.
I do too, but there was a lot of ping-ponging back there.
There was a lot. Yes, Jesus, it was like
really
a tennis match.
Yeah,
it was like, oh, no, we're going to talk about it. No, we're going to talk about it. So it started getting very confusing.
Yes.
On like, what the hell is happening? So the future Spider-Man sequels would not include crossovers with Marvel's shared world of the superheroes. So this was the breakdown. Like, oh no, what's happening? So the new deal sees Marvel Studios producing the next installment of Spidey's cinematic franchise with Kevin Feige taking a lead role in production, which is awesome. Kevin Feige knows how to produce a movie.
Yeah.
He's some of the best ones. Some of the best Marvel movies. So Spider-Man will also appear in other MCU movies going forward as he has previously. So that's awesome. So he's not only going to be in his own movies, he's going to be in other ones. So the third film in the modern series releases on July 16th, 2021. We already have a date.
Oh, wow.
Which is pretty awesome. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
So the fact that there's a hard date is like, oh, this thing is going to happen.
So Spider-Man, what's that? What is that?
The next Spider-Man movie?
Yeah. 2020. August?
2021. July 16th, 2021.
Okay.
Is the next Spider-Man movie. So Feige made an interesting remark during today's announcement, and it's hard to say whether it's a throwaway line or a hint at something more substantive, I think that's the word, to come. When commenting on his pleasure at reaching a new deal with Sony, Feige said, "As Sony continues to develop their own Spideyverse, you never know what surprises the future might hold." Oh, you sneaky son of a bitch.
What is that supposed to mean? That they're taking over Spider-Man?
No, that maybe Sony might be doing other things. So does that imply Sony's planned series of connected Spider-Man spin-offs will somehow wind up merged into the MCU, possibly by having the spin-off characters, notably Venom, appear in the solo Spider-Man movies? Hopefully. Does it mean Marvel is offering, again, to co-produce the spin-off films as well, even if they're kept separate from the main Spider-Man series? Is it just a friendly endorsement of Sony's other unrelated spin-offs? Many questions.
It's just everybody reading into it.
Yeah, did Kevin Feige just say something?
And everybody's freaking out about it.
But a lot of people are wondering if maybe like Sony might be starting another, like might be kind of branching off more into the Spider-Verse with maybe another Miles Morales movie. And
yeah, but how can they do
like
that when
Sony owns those movies? No, that's what I mean. Sony is doing that.
Oh, Sony's doing it.
Like,
okay.
Is Sony going to be maybe kind of making that Spideyverse a little bit larger by maybe doing a solo movie with just Miles Morales?
Okay, so here's the thing. Were any of the Sony movies good?
Spider-Man 1 and 2 with Tobey Maguire.
Okay.
Spider-Man 3, for some reason, went off the rails, and we got that infamous jazz dance scene down the street, which was really and a great ruining of a couple of awesome characters. Good job on that third one, guys. I blame J.J. Abrams on that one. The two Amazing Spider-Mans with Andrew Garfield were okay. They weren't great. The first one was better than the second one. The second one was kind of, there was a whole underlying plot of like he was always meant to be Spider-Man, which is kind of like it's kind of bullshit. It throws away the whole thing of anybody could have been bitten by that spider. Yeah. And then not Andrew Garfield, but Tom Holland comes along and knocks out two amazing Spider-Man movies out of the park. And he's so just good. So charismatic and likable, and he's just awesome.
I think
so. They've made, and also Into the Spider-Verse, the animated movie that Sony did, was amazing. It was an amazing movie. And so they've done both good ones. They've done good. They've done a mixed bag.
Yeah.
I feel like they've done more good than bad, though.
I feel like Tom Holland is a good Spider-Man because the others had to try to be Peter Parker, and Tom Holland just is Peter Parker.
Yeah. Like, I didn't mind Tobey Maguire. I liked him. I liked Tobey Maguire. He was like an older. I feel like him being in high school was a bad move. They could have had him. I feel like they should have made him in college. Because he was a 30-something-year-old man playing an 18-year-old high schooler. Yeah. Which, he looks like a 30-something-year-old man playing an 18-year-old high schooler. Andrew Garfield just seemed too cool.
Yeah.
To be like, I don't buy that you're
geeky and
you're
awkward.
This awkward dude, and the fact that he was dating Emily Stone at the time.
Yeah.
Is like, these scenes, you're just flirting with your girlfriend. You're not even acting. Like, this just feels weird. Yeah. I just didn't I didn't buy it, so to speak.
Yeah.
Tom Holland, I buy 100%.
Yeah.
Because he's a cute kid, but he's also, he's very awkward, and I believe his awkwardness.
I do. I'll tell you.
And I believe his kind of like how starstruck, not starstruck, not like Ant-Man starstruck.
Yeah.
But like, his like that whole fight scene in the airport when he was like, "Oh, dude, you have a metal arm. That's so cool." And he was fighting.
Well, he's excited about things like a young person,
like how a teenager in high school should be. That he's never seen these things.
Right.
He's been in New York. That's it. Now he's in space and he's
there's
fighting other superheroes in an airport in like Germany or some shit. And
there's this funny story on Graham Norton that he told, that Tom Holland told. Because Graham Norton asked him about some like Henry the Frog or something in his mouth.
It always looks like he's holding something in his mouth.
Well, he said that somebody on Twitter posted that he looks like he's holding a frog in his mouth.
Yeah.
And he thought it was funny, so he posted it.
Retweeted it.
And then after he looked at it, he started getting self-conscious about it. He's like, I do look like I'm holding a frog in my mouth.
I looked at myself in the mirror one day and I was like, oh my God, I am holding something in my mouth. It's like, I think I'm trying to do the clenched jaw thing.
Yeah, to have that chiseled jaw.
The chiseled jaw thing, but now it just looks like I'm holding something.
And I just thought that was so adorable.
Once you know that, it's unseeable. Because every photo I see of him now, it's like, he fucking totally looks like he's holding something in his mouth, and I can't unsee that ever again. Every time I see Spider-Man, it's like, spit it out, man.
But that's his same personality in Spider-Man, which I love that he takes a lot of him into it, so he's very believable.
Absolutely, yeah. So whatever comes to pass, though, the big news today is that Spider-Man is back in the MCU, and truth be told, he never really left. It was always a game of brinksmanship with too much money on the table and too much future potential for both sides to walk away forever. I said, the person who wrote the article said that he had said before that Spider-Man returning to the MCU was inevitable, because it was. The only question was whether the right people would see that sooner rather than later. Had the most financial benefits for all involved. Luckily, that's precisely what happened, and it's reason for everyone to be mindful next time a brinksmanship scenario of the sort plays out. So I think it was just who wants to be less greedy today.
Well, you know what? I had a feeling,
kind of a shitty game
even
of
though I
chess.
was really mad about it, I had a feeling it wasn't going to last long because the fan backlash alone.
Oh yeah, and we said it on the podcast as well, that like Spider-Man, they were kind of molding him to be the heart of the MCU, and to remove Spider-Man is ripping the heart out.
Yeah.
Like, you can't build him up to be this awesome character and go, oh, he's not going to be in there anymore though.
Yeah.
Like, you know, spoiler alert, we just lost Iron Man and Captain America. Now you rip away Spider-Man. But yeah, like, you can't do that to us and then take away Spider-Man and be like, oh yeah, he's not coming back now, he's gonna do something else. Like, you fucking assholes. Why would you do this to us?
Yeah, that was a bad move.
That was a bad move. But I'm so glad that somebody came to terms with it and was like, we need to make a deal and this needs to happen. So I'm glad that happened.
Yes, me too. Thank goodness.
Thank goodness Spider-Man is back. Guess he is back. That's it. We can't do any more rules. We guess he do.
Yeah.
But you guys get it. But so on to the next story. Nintendo. Sweet Nintendo. Sweet, innocent Nintendo.
Innocent, really? I don't think so.
Not anymore. Well, not their fault. Anyway, so in a Polygon article by Owen S. Good, there's another lawsuit happening. Well, there was a lawsuit that happened, I think back in June or July, where people had kind of created this lawsuit because of the Joy-Con issue. Now, the Joy-Cons are the analog remotes for the Nintendo Switch. And apparently, after so much use, or I think some people are getting them sooner than later, they start to drift, where, you know, if you move it to the right and then you let go of the stick, the character is still moving towards the right. They're still drifting over. And so that's not good.
No.
When you're playing video games and you stop playing and you put the controller down and your guy's still fucking moving. Hopefully not over a cliff and to his death, but that happened. And so that was happening. There were a lot of solutions online of how to fix them yourself. But Nintendo, back towards the end of July, Nintendo offered free repairs with no questions asked, according to an article published by Vice.
That seems like a lot of repairs.
That's a lot of repairs. But so they were like, no questions asked. We'll do it for free, which is a good thing, which is a good sign. But now the problem is, and we had this discussion as well during, I think, E3, when they announced the new Nintendo Switch Lite, was that the Joy-Cons, they don't remove from the Switch.
Yeah.
They stay stuck on there. So what happens with the drift then? Well, that's what this new lawsuit is kind of talking about, because that's what's happening, and that's not good. So Joy-Con drift lawsuit adds Switch Lite to class action complaint. 22 players alleging defects after 20 hours of use, which for anybody who plays video games, 20 hours is nothing. It is not a lot of hours of use. So the Joy-Con drift lawsuit brought against Nintendo has added the Nintendo Switch Lite, barely a week old. This thing is like 1 to 2 weeks old. It's brand new right out, and it's already having issues, which is not like almost out of the box issues.
That's not good.
Yeah, so to its claims that defective design ruined the thumbsticks for the consoles. Now, again, this is an issue with the fact that you can't remove the controllers from the system. They're stuck on there. It's all one piece now. With the Nintendo Switch that I have, the older model, which is weird to say, it's only a couple of years old, but the original model, you can remove those sticks, and you can buy new ones and replace them, and they're easy enough to replace, and you can buy other controllers. But it's, if you're going to play it handheld, you only use those controllers. So the fact that they're broken is like, I can't use it now. Or it's not working right. So the lawsuit now includes allegations culled from social media, YouTube, and Reddit that says the thumbsticks on the Switch Lite are drifting after 20 hours of play. The suit, which is not a lot. The suit, originally filed in federal court in July, seeks class action status. So one person wrote, I beat Link's Awakening over the weekend on my original Switch Lite system. I had only put like 20-something hours on it, and it started to show Joy-Con drift, wrote one player cited in the complaint on Tuesday. Why is this happening early on than with the earlier Switch? Another person wrote, I can't believe it. My Nintendo Switch Lite is already drifting, said another. I was playing Breath of the Wild, and the camera kept moving without touching the analog stick. I tried to calibrate and update the controllers, but it was still the same. So the firm of, Chemicals, Schwartz, Kreiner, and Donaldson Smith brought the lawsuit, which lists... You have enough lawyers there?
I know.
Do you have to name every single lawyer on the board? Good Lord, man. Jesus, pick one. They brought the lawsuit, which lists 18 plaintiffs in 16 different states after a brief investigation this summer that followed complaints and anecdotes about Joy-Con drift almost since the console's launch in March 2017.
Jesus.
So this has been an ongoing issue for a while.
So now there's a new lawsuit?
Yeah, the new lawsuit is based on the new Switch Lite. So the Joy-Con drift has been on the original Switch, the one that I have. People have had Joy-Con issues with that one, but now people are getting like I said, 20 hours later of playing with the new Switch Lite they're already having problems like super early on.
Wow.
When it's like, it shouldn't be happening that early on, but it shouldn't be happening at all.
Yeah, it shouldn't be happening at all.
Especially not that early.
I mean, if it was after 1,000 hours, you would think that there would be some wear and tear, but 20 hours is not that much.
Yeah, 20 hours is nothing. I agree with you. After 1,000 hours of constantly doing stuff with a joystick, something's gonna wear in there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So that kind of makes sense. But 20 hours, that's nonsense.
That is a definite quality issue.
That is a quality, yeah. So Joy-Con drift is when a thumbstick for the Switch's stock controller continues to register input even though it isn't being moved. This can cause significant gameplay problems. The lawsuit asserts federal claims of fraud and breach of warranty, as well as violations of state consumer protection laws. So those are three very big things.
Yeah.
Those aren't small little things.
No.
Like fraud? Holy shit.
Yeah.
Breach of warranty? Oh my God. So Nintendo's brief public response doesn't address any specific claims to the lawsuit, but does acknowledge the company is aware that some Joy-Con controllers are not responding correctly. The company has asked anyone affected by this to get in touch with its support department. So, I mean, hopefully they'll continue to do the whole send us your controllers and we'll fix them for free, no questions asked.
I can't imagine that they have that organized well enough to know when these come in where they need to go to and how they need to be fixed. It's going to be a cluster.
It's hard. It's hard to believe anybody who's used like customer support knows it's not quick.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
No.
It's always a pain in the ass.
Yep.
I don't care what company you are. I don't care what company you work for. Your customer support is not perfect.
No.
There are always issues, whether it's getting things late or, getting an email saying that, oh yeah, we shipped that out. And then months later going, I still haven't gotten it. Oh, but our records show that we shipped it. Like, fuck your records. I haven't gotten my thing that you said you were supposed to fix and send back to me. Like, what the hell?
I just worry about that.
So, yeah.
Because you have to really organize that well.
I agree. Yeah, because there's no way. It's hard for me to believe. I mean, I love Nintendo. I somewhat trust Nintendo, but it's hard for me to believe that they are that organized in that kind of department, especially if it's a department that they didn't know they needed to prioritize.
Well, I just think about our work, and we're having to rework machines.
Right.
And we have maybe 400 machines we have to rework, and there's no organization to it.
No, yeah, none.
I mean, some people are saying that there are, but when I looked at it, their so-called organization, it's a joke.
Yeah, but
and that's all stuff that's in-house that we haven't sent out.
Right.
So,
but we both know
Nintendo,
that's a corporate response.
Yeah, but
we both know that.
But having in our
plant, in our plant, yeah.
No, I've seen what our plant designed to do the reworks, and it's a joke. But my point is that's in-house, and all with this, it's going to be all these people from around the world sending their stuff in.
Yeah.
How are they going to organize that? I just don't see that going well.
I don't see. Yeah,
I would be highly impressed if they didn't lose.
If it works,
somebody's machine.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, I mean, it's not. Well, yeah, because especially with the Switch Lite, you're not just sending the Joy-Cons; you're sending the entire system in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's a good point. I didn't think of that because now you don't have your entire gaming system.
Yeah.
For God knows how long.
So keep your receipts and take a picture of any labels on the back.
Right.
So when you send it in, if it gets lost, you have proof of purchase, because otherwise you're going to be fighting these people. And if you do call customer service, take down somebody's name, if they have a employee number or a badge number. When you talk to them, and I mean date and time. I'm serious, like super detailed. That's what I do.
Protect yourselves. Yeah.
Because this is not going to go well.
I
don't think this is going to go well.
Yeah. Like I said, I love Nintendo. I kind of trust Nintendo, but in those kinds of situations, you can't blindly trust a company.
Well, this is a big overhaul. This is just not.
Well, this is huge.
This is not even just a company to company thing. This is a huge undertaking that they are not prepared for.
Clearly.
I don't know who would be prepared for it.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to look at it, and what they're probably going to do maybe is take a average on the number of people who have called about it and assume that a percentage of those are going to send it in.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're right, because you might not get everybody who complains about it. Not everybody's going to send it in.
No, they won't want to be without it.
I can imagine, yeah. And plus, if you YouTube it, there's so many fixes that people do to fix their own console, their own controllers.
Just be careful, because it might.
That taking it apart does void the warranty.
Yes, I was going to say.
So keep that in mind.
Yeah.
If you want to try to fix it yourself, buyer be warned kind of situation, be careful.
Yep.
Don't lose any pieces. And from what I've seen, just the Joy-Cons themselves, the controllers, are super hard and very they're very hard to take apart without breaking anything. So I wouldn't even do it.
No.
And let alone you're not just taking apart the controller, you're taking apart the entire system, because the controllers are connected to the system.
Yeah, no.
So I would send it in and let them fix it. Don't try to be a technician.
Somebody will. There'll be a lot of people that do.
I'm sure that there are Switch Lite videos on YouTube of how to fix your drift, your thing drift. And it's like, I would go into the comments and go, do not do this. Send your shit to Nintendo.
There's going to be a lot of people that do it. And then what you're going to hear is after they break it.
Oh, after they break it themselves.
They're going to be mad that Nintendo won't take it back.
Oh, 100%.
Because there's always some idiot out there.
That is how people work.
Yep.
Yeah. My console, I tried to fix it and I took it apart. Well, I'm sorry, sir, but that voids the warranty.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know that. It says it in the manual.
Yeah.
And the manual, the manual that you don't read, that you just throw back in the box after you've opened up the box. Yeah, that manual, it says those kinds of things in there.
They did their due diligence by providing it.
They're a company.
You choose not to read it, that's on you.
Yeah, they're a company. They know how to cover their asses with stupid shit like that.
They got lots of attorneys.
Oh, yeah, and I'm sure at least one of those attorneys was like, put that in there.
Yep.
So that way nobody can say that they didn't know.
Yep.
Because you might not have known, but that's because you didn't read it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was on you. Nobody told you not to read the manual. I mean, honestly, though, who does read the manual? There's probably like 2% of people who read the manual. Yeah, you do. I don't read the manual.
I read the manual.
I put that shit back in the box. I'm the asshole who doesn't read the manual.
Oh.
Me and 98% of other people don't read the manual.
That's why I know random facts about the about the shit in my house. Like, that was in the manual.
Yeah. How do you know about this? Well, it's because it's in the manual. Oh, somebody read the manual. Yeah, me.
I'm an overachiever. What can I say?
Clearly. But anyway. So there's that. So that's the end of that story.
Yep.
On the next story, the Joker movie just came out a couple of days ago, and I don't even know how to start this story.
It's tough. This is tough.
This is a tough story to start.
Yeah.
So CPRnews.com, written by Zandria McMahon. I think that's how you pronounce her first name. There's an X there. I'm sure it's Zandria. I'm sorry if I pronounced it.
No, it's probably because Zendaya. No, that's with a Z.
That's with a Z.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Xanadu's with an X.
I didn't know that. I thought
I think
Xanadu
so.
was with a Z.
Oh, crap. Now I don't know.
I think Xanadu was with a Z.
All right. Now I got to look.
You look that up while I read this.
Okay.
So anyway, in the title of the article is the families of Aurora Theater victims. Joker depicts a vision too close for comfort to reality. This is what they believe and they heard, and this is what they're saying. So in the trailer for the new film Joker Faded to Black, Sandy and Lonnie Phillips were left deeply unsettled. Is it with a Z?
It's with an X.
Oh, it is with an X.
Yep.
Okay, so it's pronounced Z.
Yeah.
Okay, I figured as much. Anyway, back to the story. So this iteration of the classic Batman villain, played by Joaquin Phoenix, reminded them of the man who killed their daughter, Jessica Gawi, and 11 others in the 2012 Aurora Theater shooting during a screening of The Dark Knight Rises. The trailer prompted the Phillips to join other friends and families of Aurora victims in writing a letter to Warner Brothers, asking the studio to stand against gun violence by ending political contributions to NRA-affiliated politicians, lobbying for gun reform, and contributing to survivors' funds. Which, from what I read, they're not boycotting the movie.
Okay.
They're really not like saying, don't go and see this movie.
Okay.
What they're saying is that pretty much saying that they want the company to kind of be more responsible in what they're doing. Like, you make a movie, but there are real life things that you can do, like not contribute to the NRA, to, contribute to survivor funds.
Yeah.
Do those kinds of things, which makes sense to me.
That's a tricky. That's tricky because that you have to walk a very fine line with that, because that could come off as very and I'm not sure of the legal term. My brain is so fried today. I should not have been doing homework all day. Where you're kind of not holding them hostage, but I'll think about it. Just
I'll continue.
Go on with the story.
Just gonna yell it out.
Yeah.
It's this. Jesus Christ. So they developed this character, and it was so similar to our killer's character that was disturbing for me, Sandy Phillips said. But it's really not about the movie. It's a form of art. People have the right to make a movie any way they want to. But I think there's a bigger problem here when it comes to corporate responsibility, and we were asking them to just quit donating to the people that are taking NRA money and vote against bills repeatedly that could save lives.
Okay.
So that's kind of what that's like I said, they're not, from what she said, they're not trying to boycott the movie. They're not saying don't go see this movie. They're just saying
it'd be nice if you would do this instead.
Right.
Okay, I can see that. That I think some people, and probably the NRA, because they're who they are, they're going to take it as a totally negative thing because they want all the money because they're super greedy.
Correct.
But it does sound like the family is not saying anything negative. It sounds very positive.
Right.
They're just saying they want corporate responsibility, which we've talked about this several times in lots of different situations that have come up in the news. And the only way corporations are going to be responsible is if we force them by what we do and don't purchase. They're not going to do it on their own. They're absolutely not going to do it on their own because they don't care. They only care about money.
In most cases, yes.
Almost every corporation, bottom line, all they care about is money. So if anybody wants a movement, they actually have to say, we're not going to buy that or whatever. So I understand what they're saying. Mm-hmm. I just don't think they're going to get anywhere with them.
Right. That's
unfortunately.
That's kind of the shame of it. But so the studio issued a statement in response saying that the film is not an endorsement of real-world violence of any kind. That's kind of not what they're saying.
Yeah, that's replying to something.
Yeah, you're replying
wasn't...
to an argument that isn't being argued.
Yeah.
Which I think is why a lot of people are like, well, they're boycotting the movie. But they're not.
Yeah.
They just want the corporation to be responsible.
Right.
And the corporation is saying, but we didn't make a violent movie. But you did. But that's okay that you did that. We don't care. We just want you to stop giving money to these assholes.
Yeah.
But the movie isn't violent. Stop arguing that because we don't care.
Yeah.
So here's the interesting thing, too, is that theaters have hired extra security for screenings of Joker, and major chains like AMC and Landmark have banned costumes and face masks. Alamo Drafthouse Theaters also upped security and took pains to tell parents to not bring their kids. The Century Theater in Aurora, the site of the shooting, will not show this movie, which I kind of agree with.
I can understand that because...
Especially since the last Batman movie they showed this.
Yeah.
Something horrible. I didn't mean to laugh.
I
Sorry.
can see them not doing that. It still feels like terror wins, though. You know, because...
I agree with you.
Because these people that do these mass shootings, even though, you know, all the super white people in Washington don't call them this, they're domestic terrorists. This guy is a domestic terrorist.
Absolutely.
Now, there's two separate issues here. He obviously has mental health issues, but that doesn't mean he's not a domestic terrorist.
Right.
There are two separate things that happen to coincide with one person. So when terrorism wins out, then we've lost that battle. So I worry about... I totally understand why they decided to do that.
Right.
I just don't know...
If that was the right move.
I mean...
In the long run kind of thing?
Yeah, because... And this is, you know...
This is a hard discussion.
It really
it's a hard
is,
thing
because
to,
it's coming from somebody who didn't... I didn't lose anybody in
Right.
that. I don't know what that feeling is.
Yeah.
I can't even fucking imagine that. So it's really tough to look at that situation or any situation when people are grieving. And I think that they handled what they said so eloquently and gracefully.
Better than I would have.
Oh, yeah. I don't know that I would have handled it that well. It's just like the brother of the what is his name? Oh gosh, his name's Batham.
That's right. Batham something. I forget.
He has like two first names. My heart is broke for that family, and as much as I deeply, deeply respect police officers, I think that she should have gone to jail for the rest of her life. I don't have forgiveness for her, and I thought it was incredibly...
The police officer that went into the house.
Went into another person's apartment and shot him because she got confused. I don't understand how in the world that happened.
Just in case nobody knew what we were talking about.
So, and I'm not going to mention her name because I don't want to give her any kind of recognition.
I don't even remember her name.
Yeah. But the brother of Batham hugged her and said, I don't want you to have a bad life. I want you to have a good life. I don't know that I could be that forgiving. I'm not. Right. He's a better person than me.
Right, Ben, but we've talked about this, that I think the reason why he did that, I don't want to say selfish is the wrong word, but I think it was more about him healing than forgiving
a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah, I think that
he
was
didn't
more
want to have that hatred in him.
I don't want to live my life hating somebody, especially knowing that they're in jail rotting, because there's nothing my hatred can do to that person.
And that's the logical way to handle it.
Right,
but I would still be so angry
there's no way I would have been that logical. Especially at the court case.
Yeah.
There's no way in hell. Maybe like 5 years later, going to visit her in prison and saying, I forgive you.
Yeah.
But then and there,
yeah,
there's no fucking way I could have done that.
Especially after you heard about all the racist text messages and things she did.
There's no way I could have done that. He is a better person than
his whole family. They're better people than me. I could not forgive that. But it's tough because you don't want to judge somebody's grief.
Right.
And I don't judge them at all if that's the way they want to handle it. If these people want to handle it the way they're handling, I don't judge them at all.
And I think the way they're handling it is fine.
I do too.
For them.
I just don't... it's very tricky because the theater not playing the movie, which, like I said, I get why they're not doing. I just don't... And I don't know if what kind of message that sends.
Right.
To who, you know? Because whenever there's something that happens or you say something or you do something, it's not just you that it affects.
Right.
So it's the entire world. Whoever hears it, whoever sees it. So I always worry about how somebody's going to take that and what they're going to use, what message that sends to them. Mm-hmm. It's really difficult. But, you know, it could happen with any movie.
Right.
So it's kind of like if it happens with another movie, then do we just not play any violent movies? I mean, where do we draw that line, I guess, I think. But anyways, go ahead.
So the Los Angeles Times reported that a theater in Huntington Beach, California, canceled most of its Thursday screenings after police said they received a threat. No details about the nature of the threat were released, which is probably somebody being an asshole in most cases, which is kind of disgusting.
Yep.
Knowing what happened and knowing like what's going on with this movie, to do that is like you're subhuman. Why would you do? It's yelling fire in a theater.
Because people have mental health issues.
You're an asshole.
Because
Sorry.
you only do stupid, horrible things like that if something's wrong with you mentally.
Yeah, because I don't see any sane person going, I'm going to call in a threat.
No, because
Just for laughs.
I think that I'm fairly sane, and that would never would have crossed my mind.
Yeah, not at all. Yeah, when I read that, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
That is ridiculous.
It baffled me. So in a statement about the movie's security risk, the FBI said, while our standard practice is not to comment on specific intelligent products, the FBI is in touch with our law enforcement and private sector partners about the online posts. As always, we encourage the public to remain vigilant and to promptly report suspicious activity to law enforcement.
Yes.
So, which seems like a general response, but what else are you going to say?
Yeah.
So the anxiety around the film didn't stop it from scoring an October box office record with $13.3 million earned in a Thursday night showing. Warner Brothers released the figures Friday morning. So that's, $13.3 million on Thursday.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
And who's to say that because of the controversy, more people didn't go see it either?
That could be because,
I was excited for this movie before I heard the controversy.
Yeah.
But to be honest, there was a little bit of my brain going, now I have to see this movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, anytime that there's a boycott or not even a boycott, but there's any kind of controversy around something, human nature, we want to see it or do it more.
Yeah. The FCC made it kind of, because there was that whole argument, I think back in the 80s or 90s, where the FCC put those little stickers, parental advisory stickers on CDs, on records and CDs.
Yeah.
And
Twisted Sister went to court for that. And
I remember that. Snyder.
Yep.
What the hell's his first name? Z? No.
No. Oh, I can't remember.
I am horrible with names.
My laptop's dying.
Brought this up. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like you put that sticker on the CDs, and now more people want to buy those CDs. You know what I mean? You put a sign up that says "Do not press red button." You're gonna want to press that red button.
Well, it's just like it's just like the Nashville, Tennessee church banning Harry Potter books in the library.
Right.
That's only going to make the kids want to read it more.
100%,
They're going to find a way to read it.
Because why can't I read this?
Every time there's been a situation like that, like I said, kids find a way to read the books. They hide them. They share them.
You find a way to watch a movie. You find a way to listen to a song. You find a way to dance in a barn somewhere away from your father who's a religious person. Footloose. If that movie didn't teach you anything, you weren't paying attention.
Yeah. Well, and it's very true because anything that's taboo,
you want to do more.
You want it do more.
There's an enticement there.
Yeah. It's just like when parents tell their daughters or their sons they can't see who they like, this person they like.
Yeah. Now you have a pregnant child.
Yeah.
Because guess what?
Now they want to see them more.
Now they want to see them more, and that's going to happen. And that's why we have an alcohol problem in this country with young teens, because you're not allowed to drink alcohol unless you're 21. And so when kids are 16, 18, 19, they get drunk and sometimes they die of either alcohol poisoning or car accidents. And that's why other countries in Europe, they don't have those alcohol problems because it's okay. It's a normal thing to see a 16 or 18-year-old kid in a bar having a beer or having a glass of wine. It's a normal thing. So it's not this weird taboo thing like, oh, no, I can't drink. Oh. And then when you get to 21, you binge drink because they're like, no, I'm free. I can do this. And then you die that same night. Like
even overseas, there'll be little glasses of wine at the table for kids to drink if they want to drink it. So it's not a taboo thing.
I had a little taste of wine when I was a kid.
Did you?
Yeah. It wasn't a lot. It was just like a little sip.
Yeah.
Like my father would be like, a little bit. It was always my father. It wasn't my mother. My mother would yell at my father for doing that. I could eat baby. Can't drink that. He's fine. Get out of here. Shut up. That was, and I don't know what's going on. It was like, this tastes weird.
Yeah.
This isn't grape juice.
D. Snyder.
I was close. I said Z. Snyder. Like a fucking idiot. It was D. Snyder.
Yeah.
I knew it was a letter.
It's actually D.E., but whatever.
I know it's D.E., but sounds like just a letter.
It does sound like
so
just a
that's
letter.
what I mean.
Okay.
Anyway, so
My computer just died.
Yes.
So that's all we get.
okay, so any more questions? Fuck me.
Yep.
This is pretty much.
Oh, no, I can look on my phone.
Oh, there you go. We have a mini computer wherever we go.
Yeah, that's right.
Why are you even using a laptop? Anyway,
I don't know.
so the Joker is a slow burn character study of how a mentally ill middle-aged man named Arthur Fleck becomes the Joker. When the audience drops in on his life, he's working as a clown for hire, living with his mother in a rundown Gotham apartment, and checking in occasionally with a social worker. He has a card that he gives to people to explain that his spontaneous and painful bursts of laughter are because of a medical condition. His only joy seems to be watching the talk show host Murray Franklin, Robert De Niro, in the evenings. And that's a Johnny Carson style talk show.
Right.
Yeah. So director Todd Phillips sees his film Joker as a character that inspires empathy in the audience, if not in his own narrative. So the truth is, you see it and it's heartbreaking. And he's heartbreaking, Phillips told the AP. And you know what happens in the movies when you have a world that lacks empathy and lacks love. You get the villain you deserve.
Well, we're seeing that.
We're seeing that in unfortunately, art. Life is imitating art.
Yeah.
In the world we live in today, which is sad. But
Yes, it is.
But Sandy Phillips, among many others, expressed concern that the film humanized a type of radicalized men that have increasingly posed a threat. He's very dark. He's supposedly misunderstood. It seems odd to me that they are trying to give sympathy of some sort towards a character who is so flawed and then takes the choice of being violent in our society. And that's exactly what happened in Aurora, she said. Both Phoenix and Todd Phillips have defended the film, with the actor saying he trusts audiences to know the difference between right and wrong. I do think that the audience should be challenged and they should be able to know the difference between right and wrong. I don't think it's the filmmaker's responsibility to teach morality. Phoenix told the AP, if I don't know the difference between right and wrong, then there are all sorts of things that you are going to interpret in the way that you want. Which I agree with.
Yeah, that's really that's tough because some of the stuff I agree with him and some stuff I'm questioning because like I said before, remember when we were talking in the office and you said you had an opinion about something and I said your thought is flawed because you're only looking at it from how you see it. And you look at it and go, I don't know how but anybody could see it any other way.
Right.
But you're not the only one seeing, so you can't assume that nobody else is going to take it wrong.
Yeah.
So, and my thought, and this is what I learned in college, every time I'm in a specific type of class, that communication is when the communicator is solely on the communicator to communicate to the listener what they want them to understand. And if they misunderstand it, it is their fault. It's the communicator's fault.
Mm-hmm.
Now, yes, this isn't a business environment and it's a little bit different. And
Right.
and we're not, in a business, you're not necessarily putting information out to the masses and millions of people. But at the end of the day, you can't just, first of all, you can't just trust the audiences anymore. You just can't.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be responsible. You have to be responsible. Now, I don't think that corporations are going to be responsible. I don't think movie theaters or movie studios are going to be responsible because they only care about money. That's what their makeup is. I'm not saying anything negative about them. They're corporations.
Yeah,
all they are there to do is make money.
That's why they're there.
They're machines. That's what they do.
Yeah.
So we're asking a machine to have a conscience.
Right.
And that's not really logical unless we change the makeup of the machine.
Correct. Yeah.
And that's a bigger undertaking. But I agree that he doesn't, it's hard. I understand what he's saying about that people who make movies shouldn't shouldn't be responsible for teaching morality. But if you're telling a story and you're trying to convey, and if any, you can go to hundreds of interviews with directors that say, I wanted to convey this message. I wanted people to hear this message. You can't say that and then say, oh, we're not responsible for teaching morality. Okay, so you get to pick and choose on what you teach. That's not a thing. You can't do that. That's a hypocritical statement. So I flip-flop because I understand what he's saying and I know where it's coming from, but also I live in the real world and not Hollywood, so I can see it from this side, and I don't know that that's exactly real world thinking, I should say.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Yeah. So the Phillipses emphasize that they don't want moviegoers to boycott the film. They do want the studio to offset violence, Lonnie Phillips said. It's about making money, which you said.
Yep.
That's what it's really all about. So the studio executives have the money. They don't. Why don't they give a portion of their profits to good causes, to things that can help survivors? That's all we're asking, he said. So far, they've been unsatisfied by Warner Brothers' response.
Yeah.
Which, surprise, surprise. No kidding. Yes, they did give us money right after the Aurora shooting, and it was dispersed among the victims. After great controversy, we had a hard time getting that money. It was donated to a local charity that only gives money to other local charities, and they were not going to give us any of that money, which I feel like, I mean, maybe the studio should have researched who they were giving the money to first.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not fully the studio's fault. I wouldn't be mad at the studio.
No.
I'd be like, why isn't this charity giving us the money?
And
we're a charity that only gives to other charities.
I don't fully
Give a
understand
shit.
why the movie theater, or was it the movie theater that paid them? Or the actual creator?
I think the studio.
The studio. See, I don't understand why they would be responsible for that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I don't see why. Like, I would blame the charity that they gave the money to.
Well, no, I don't know why the studio would be responsible.
Would even be giving money?
Yeah, I mean,
I see.
It's great that they did.
Probably because it was during their movie.
Yeah, but
so they felt guilty.
That doesn't matter.
No, I'm just saying that's probably why.
Well,
they did
yeah, but they said after great pain, so it doesn't, and controversy, so it doesn't sound like they did it willingly. But again, I don't know why it would be their responsibility. Somebody took this movie and went off the rails with it, or whatever, and
it could have just been they chose that movie at random. They just chose a movie that was popular and went to that theater because they knew that theater was going to be full.
Well, he was dressed like the Joker.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. Well, never mind what I just said. Strike that from me.
Yeah, he dyed his hair red and everything.
Oh, I thought it was orange. It doesn't matter. Regardless.
Red, orange, whatever. Yeah.
Still dyed his hair.
Yeah.
That's right. I remember seeing him in the courtroom. His hair was orange. Makes sense. So, anyway, also what she's asking for is kind of also unrealistic in a way.
What do you mean?
Because she goes on to say, why won't they just talk to us? Why can't we talk directly, eyeball to eyeball, with one of their executives and find out what we can do to help them create a better image? Like,
because they don't want to.
That's the unrealistic part I'm talking about. Like, there's no way an executive at a movie studio is gonna call you in to go, all right, how do we change our image?
Yeah,
you're not an image consultant.
They're fighting the wrong battle.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's an unrealistic battle. You're not going to win that fight.
That
Pick something else.
They don't care to change their image.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what Disney did with not allowing that father to put Spider-Man on his child's grave, and
they sent him a still
and
a picture.
Nothing's come of it.
Yeah.
Nothing has affected Disney whatsoever.
Yeah.
So
we literally just praised them for getting Spider-Man back.
Exactly. So they don't care. If they want to really make change, they need to start at the legislation level. They need to go to their representatives,
their congresspeople.
They need to put in rules or laws. They need to support things, counting NRA or whatever they need to do, but they have to do it a different direction. They're trying to hold accountable a studio that had nothing to do with this idiot walking into a theater and shooting a bunch of people and killing them.
Right, yeah. So we've asked 3 times to meet with them, and they haven't responded. No surprise there. Sandy Phillips said, so that would be the first step, wouldn't it? Well,
I don't think so.
Again, you're in my opinion, I think they're picking the wrong battle.
Yeah,
I think they're reaching for unrealistic goals because there's no way that's going to happen.
No, and I feel bad for them, and But I think on a personal level, if I wouldn't have gotten, I don't know that I would have gone that direction, just because I already don't feel like it's necessarily their responsibility. So I would have gone to my congressperson, my representative.
Yeah, because I feel like it's a bigger issue that our congresspeople are getting money from the NRA.
Yes, and
isn't that a bigger issue since they're the ones who make laws?
And plus, this was an isolated incident.
Right, yeah.
So laws need to change to protect people.
Yeah, not movie studios and who they're donating
No,
to.
because again, they're just corporations that want to make money.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing. And they already acknowledge that that's what they do.
Yeah.
So I think I would have, if I did go that way, once I got the, the little sister, little brother handhold away, kind of thing, I would have.
The hole to the forehead.
Yeah, the hole to the forehead.
Get me closer.
I would have gone a different route, but they're not going to get any movement with this studio, and I don't know that's the route they should go, and maybe they'll go a different route.
Maybe.
That's really tough. I do have to say, I'm very weary of going to public places now. Certain public places, like a movie theater, a mall, different things like that.
Because it's scary.
It is scary.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Because you just don't know who's going to show up and what's going to happen.
But I feel like it kind of goes into what you said about if you don't do these things, they win, and you have to still live your life.
Yep.
Otherwise, the people know that, okay, if I do this thing, it will affect people's lives and it'll make me stronger in a weird kind of sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
they're not thinking logically.
They're not thinking Yeah, exactly. They're not thinking logically.
Yeah.
If I cause this kind of trauma, people are going to think about that forever.
Yeah.
So that means I'll always live forever.
So I do go. I just am weary of it. So
no, yeah, and as well you should be.
Yeah.
Do live your life, but also keep your head on a swivel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look at everything. Acknowledge it. But so I did see this movie earlier today, and probably my favorite movie of the year. I absolutely love this movie. It was phenomenal. I actually teared up a little bit in the beginning of the movie.
Oh, really?
Because you do feel for Arthur Fleck. You do feel for this guy who's living just such a shit life, and his laughter it's not medically induced. I shouldn't say medically induced, but it's one of those. It's like it's a nervous thing when he feels emotional, sad, or afraid. It just happens. He starts laughing, and funny enough, it pisses people off when he starts laughing.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what the fuck are you laughing
Probably
at?
not appropriate.
It's not, yeah, especially not at appropriate times. Because like the first instance you see of it is when he's kind of making kind of jokey faces at a kid on a bus, and the kid is laughing, and the mother's like, "Don't stop bothering my kid." And it's just like, what the fuck? It's it's like a New York response.
Yeah.
It's like, I wasn't bothering your kid. Like, I'm there. Shut up. And he starts getting nervous, and he starts laughing his laugh. And the lady's like, "Is that funny?" And he hands her a card that says, "I have a medical condition," and on the back it explains it. And it for me, it felt like a metaphor for how people who are kind of damaged and who are very kind of sad in life, who don't like to share things, like me.
Yeah.
I don't like to talk about my feelings.
Yeah.
So I make jokes and I laugh and I do these things so it kind of, I was like that the laugh is it's a defense mechanism. It's something like, you're putting on a smile to be like, yeah, everything's fine. The clown is on duty.
It's a defense mechanism, but it doesn't mean it's healthy.
No, and that's and this movie definitely shows that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
that's what I was saying.
And I agree with you. It's not. Yeah. It's not even so much of a defense mechanism. It's just he can't even control it.
Yeah.
And the laugh, in my opinion, is probably my second favorite Joker laugh of all time. It's just, there's something sad about it. Like, it's not like an evil laugh. Every time he laughs, Joaquin Phoenix just does an amazing performance. He should win an Oscar for this fucking performance, in my opinion. He's so good in it. He's so emotional. He makes... Like, he looks like he's about to cry, but then this laugh comes out, and it really, it's unnerving, and it's a really well done character study of what happens. And he doesn't just go on killing sprees. It's not one of those things where like he's just like he snaps and goes, "I'm gonna start murdering everybody." It's not one of those movies at all. It kind of happens accidentally, and then from there he starts to kind of turn, and I no longer feel sorry for him. I'm actually starting to become afraid of the character.
Yeah.
So it's one of those where it's like in the beginning I felt for him and I kind of saw a little bit of myself in him. And then it was like, oh, now I don't know who this person is. Now it's like, whoa, this took a fucking turn. What the hell? And the music is so well done. The violence, it's not comic book violence. It's not just there to be like, oh, this guy's kicking ass.
Yeah.
And it's every bit of violence has meaning behind it, and it has an impact on the story, and it makes it kind of every time somebody dies, it's a bit of him that's broken, like a little bit more of him breaks off, and the true person is seen behind it. Like the mask is starting to break away as the movie continues on. It's like that's who he really is. That's the real person.
Oh wow.
And it's like every time he does kill somebody, it's like that happens, and he changes a little bit, and he becomes more and more frightening and more kind of psychotic, and he becomes more and more of this Joker that you know of. He's trying to make his own statements, and it's so frightening and like also kind of heartbreaking at the same time in certain instances, because it's like you kind of see why he's angry at people. But then you go, but that's not the way to handle that anger.
Yeah.
You shouldn't handle it that way. That's an unhealthy way to handle it. And there were a couple moments where when he says certain things, and it's like, my eyes like widened up, and I was sitting there going, that is not the way to do that. That is, nope. This guy is crazy. Like, oh my God. It's just, everybody in it does such a good job. The actress who plays his mother, Robert De Niro, does a good job. In the beginning of the movie, you see people who treat him like shit, because everybody treats him like shit. Everybody. But then, like, there becomes a point where it's like, I think now you're reading too much into it, because now, like, yeah, in the beginning, this guy was a dickhead, but was that warranted?
Yeah.
Was what you did warranted?
Is that maybe a little bit excessive?
A little bit excessive. It was probably not necessary.
But I think with him, everything is compounded.
That's what I mean.
So it is warranted in his mind.
For him, it's like, but that's that's kind of the thing too with where you see with a lot of kind of school shootings, in a sense of the kid being bullied. Mm-hmm. It's compounded. You don't know what his home life is. You don't know what his school life is. Mm-hmm. I'm not justifying what they do. I'm not saying what they did. Fuck those bullies. I'm not saying that at all. It was like kind of the message of the movie. We created these monsters.
Yeah.
Like the entire movie, he was a sweet guy. He was a nice guy in the beginning of the movie. He treated his mother he took care of his mother. He loved his mother. He was nice to people, and just the more people just kind of took advantage of it.
Yeah,
and were just crappy to him. And it was like, and even at the end, he's like, everybody's terrible. Everybody out there is a monster.
And when you look at school shootings and just in shootings in general, because I have always said these are mental health issues, and this is a good.
And I agree with
this story. It shows you how a person's spirit is broken, and that's why I said that to you. And I might get backlash for this. And I really could give no shits about that, because I am absolutely correct that nobody's hands are clean when these shootings happen. I do blame the NRA for
making
pandering, messing with our democracy, where we can't get laws to protect ourselves because they have more money than we do. But aside from that, we could be better humans to other humans.
Right.
We could be better people. We could do more. We don't have to be shitty. An example of this, which it didn't even affect him or anything like that, but it affected me. It bothered me because I thought this is one of those instances where somebody could have handled something differently. We were in Boston. I told you about this. We were in Boston. And
Boston. It's Boston.
Oh, I don't know what I was
it's
saying.
Yeah, no, I said Boston. It's Boston.
I was back in the 40s.
Yeah.
In Boston. No, we were in Boston, and I had some friends here from Washington State, and my friend's son is on the spectrum. Mm-hmm. He is such a cool kid, man. He is so interesting to talk to. He's so interested in things that are not what regular 18, 19-year-olds are interested in.
Right.
He will talk to anybody, and he went up to a lady in a horse-drawn carriage. Horse-drawn carriage.
Yeah. Carriage rides.
He said to her, is this an authentic antique horse carriage, or is it a replica? And her response to him was very snarky. You really think that this would be an antique that would last in Boston?
Yeah, she gave him the Boston response.
Yeah.
What, are you retarded?
Yeah. Basically, yeah. And I thought to myself, and it didn't bother him at all. He just kind of went tra-la-la.
Oh yeah, he
went
just
on
went
with
through
his
like,
own.
oh okay, so it's not. It is a replica.
Yeah.
Pretty much, he got the answer.
Yeah.
He got an answer.
And
he asked the question. It was a shitty answer, but he got an answer.
Yeah,
It's like,
and he
oh, so it's a replica. Cool,
then
thanks,
he moved
lady.
on.
And then he moved on.
Kept on trucking.
Yeah.
And me, I sat there like
I would have had the same response that you had. Like,
I looked
this
over like
bitch.
this bitch is what?
Lady, he asked you a very simple, nice question. It's not his fault that you don't know shit about your fucking job.
And you couldn't, but why did you have to be shitty? I don't understand.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where it's like your shittiness was 100% unwarranted.
Yeah.
He didn't come up and be snarky. He wasn't like
He's a super polite kid.
Yeah, I'm sure he went up like I'm sure he just came out of nowhere and was like, "Oh my god, is this like excited?" And
he
like,
was.
"Oh my god, is this an authentic blah 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 or
Yeah.
is this a replica?" She was probably like, "Jesus Christ, kid, what do you fucking think?"
Yeah, and
Like,
that was kind of her
response.
attitude, and I just thought.
Caught her off guard, and she was like, "Whoa, what the hell? Who is this kid? What the fuck? You want to ride or not, kid? I don't know anything about this shit."
But that's simple acts like that. We could be nicer to each other.
Yeah, she could have handled that. Well, she could have. Yeah, she could have been like,
could've just
"Oh no,
said-
this is 100% a replica."
Yeah.
There's no way that an antique would have survived Boston.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? She could have still said what she said, but not
Yeah.
in a cunty way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, lady. I know you're from Boston, but you don't have to be a cunt from
Yeah.
Boston, okay? To be a lady
I
from
was
Boston.
so annoyed by that comment.
Oh,
and
I would have
when
been
we
the
were
same
walking
way.
back by her, because we were going to another store, and we were walking back by her. It took everything in
to
me
not walk over and be
to
like,
her.
"You're a bitch."
Yeah, to say, do you have to be a condescending person when somebody asks you a question?
Right.
But I didn't because I was with friends and I didn't want to,
Yeah, and I'm
cause
sure,
a scene or anything.
And I'm sure Lou was just beep boop boop bop boop.
That's not logical.
She gave a logical response. There is no way an antique would have survived the Boston weather. I don't see the reason why you are #angry. What the fuck is happening?
So
That's not how he talks.
that's not how he does.
He's more human.
Yeah.
He's able to hide his robotic.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
But my point is, we could be nicer to each other, and this
Well, yeah.
and the movie is a good.
It's a good example of
It's
that.
a good example of how we, as other humans, break down other humans to a point where our hands aren't clean when these situations happen. People who have mental illness, we either our hands aren't clean because we don't protect ourselves from them, or we don't protect them from ourselves.
Right.
So this story seems very psychological more than violent to me.
Oh yeah, it was one. Yeah, like I said, the violence in it. I mean, there were some acts of violence. There wasn't a lot of them, but the acts of violence were all very necessary to the story.
Right.
You know what I mean? They weren't just mindless,
Gratuitous. Yeah.
Just Deadpool's chopping up another head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not. It wasn't that. It was all everything needed to happen. All of these people had to die in order for him to become what he became. And it was such a heavy story.
Yeah.
And it like when I went home, I literally I went home and I watched Robin Hood Men in Tights because I needed a palate cleanser. I was like, I need to watch a Mel Brooks movie right now. Because I was like, I was sitting in line at Wendy's, and my mind was just like, what a fucking movie.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop thinking about that movie, which was like, I haven't watched a movie like that in a long time, which I couldn't stop thinking about. I can't recommend this movie like any more than I am now. It's just such an amazing movie. But anyway, on to the next story, because I feel like we've talked enough about the Joker.
Oh, we've talked a lot about
It's
it.
a great movie. Check it out. 100% tell you, go get it. Go
Yep.
watch it. Go get it.
Go get it.
Go to the theater, grab the reel, and go home and watch it yourself. Funny, here's the other funny thing, though. When I walked in, there were signs on every single door that had a picture of Joaquin Phoenix's Joker and, like, Joker masks, and it was saying no face paint, no masks in the theater.
Oh.
So they even had signs out. I even took a photo of one.
Oh,
I
really?
wanted to show you, yeah.
Oh,
And I
wow.
was like, whoa, they are taking this seriously, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was, and I was surprised because it was a Fall River theater.
Oh, wow.
And I did not expect them to take that any seriously.
Yeah, but
at
they
all.
made that one nice. You're talking about the newer?
Oh my God, they made it so nice.
The new one by Market Basket?
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
really nice. It's
Yeah.
a beautiful theater. But anyway, next story. It's the Asshat of the week. I'm gonna fit that air horn in anytime I can.
He's even got an Asshat name.
What do you mean? Oh, he's got an Asshat name.
Yeah, it just sounds...
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. His name is very Asshatty.
Yeah, I just don't...
Yeah. So it is. It's so stupid. Cashnasty. I'm gonna say that again for you, audience. Cashnasty. One word. All one word. He's
Doesn't sound
he's a
douchey at all.
YouTuber. Oh, not douchey at all. He's an upstating citizen. He's a YouTuber, and he primarily does NBA 2K videos. So he's
Sell out? What?
He's been. Oh, well, I'm sorry. Sell out. What's going on? Sell out. He's been. So he recently. This is why he's the Asshat of the week. Not because. Oh, he was one of the guys in the infamous trailer for the My Team mode that we talked about a few episodes ago.
Yeah, we
Probably
talked,
last episode.
No, it was episode 20. It was the one before that.
Episode 20. So, oh, by the way, we're on episode 22. Way late. Sorry, guys. I'm sure you were like, what episode number is this? You weren't asking that because it's on the top of the episode.
Yep.
But yeah, a couple episodes ago, we talked about the infamous trailer where they showed the casino games and
All
very
this
little,
gambling stuff,
yeah, and like 30 seconds of actual basketball footage. But in a like a 2-minute trailer.
Yeah.
Good job, guys. But so he made a video titled "We Need to Talk" #fix NBA 2K20. Now, when I first saw that, I had told you this. When I first saw that,
You had such hopes.
I had such hopes. I was like, oh my god, he's going to address it. Wow. You know what? Newfound respect for this guy. I should have held that back.
Yep.
I had already, blew my load, so to speak. It was in my head. I had to say it. It was in my, or else I would have stood in there.
Okay.
It was not meant in that sexual way. But it was.
Yeah,
it was
come
like
out of that,
it was
like,
but it came out that way.
Yeah.
But it didn't mean to. It was very respect. I was like, I respect this guy. Oh my god, he's going to talk about because we need to talk EA.
Yeah.
I mean, no, sorry, not EA. 2K. Boy, that's weird that they sound very similar and they both do very nefarious things. It's not a coincidence, I guess. But anyway, so here are the things that he went on to address. Like
Okay.
6 minutes into the fucking video. This was a 14-minute video I can't get back. I can't get 14 minutes life. Oh my god, minutes back in my life. But 6 minutes in, because the first 6 minutes was just him talking about going to 2K Studios and blah, I got to see the game and do this.
Oh god.
Yeah, what is it? So I'm waiting with bated breath. What do we need to talk about? So we need to fix the stamina issues with the characters, with the athletes, so to speak. We also need to fix the rep bar, which I don't even know what the fuck that means. It's apparently it's one of the many bars that you use while playing the game. I don't even know. I guess it fills up as you do good shots. I don't play the game.
Okay.
And also, he can't. Here's the biggest issue: he can't make content because of server disconnects. Woe is him. Oh, I can't make videos for you guys of me playing this game that I sold out for because I keep getting booted out because of the server issues.
So he didn't mention anything about the gambling.
Oh, he did. But later on in the video, like really later on in the video. So let me just continue on to talk about the stupid shit that he went on to complain about.
Okay.
The really non-consequential shit.
Right. Okay.
Now, I mean, granted, this is stuff that a video game should have working.
Yeah.
Like the server, especially if you're going to have an online
Yeah.
area. You should probably have the server fixed.
Yeah.
But apparently you were more worried about getting that slot machine going
Yeah.
rather than getting the servers up. So here's what he quoted one Twitter user saying 7'3" centers with no badges and low overall stats are quote unquote glitching. They are faster and can shoot as good as anyone. Now, and that was pretty much after a patch fix. So by badges, and now I looked up what the hell the badges were. Mm-hmm. Now badges are boosts to abilities. Now I imagine these badges are things that come out of loot boxes. So this person, to me, it sounds like this person is complaining about. I'm playing against a person who has stock characters who they didn't have to spend money to open up loot boxes with, and they're kicking my ass. This does not sound fair. This game is broken. It's glitching.
Okay.
It's the same thing when it's, you know what, I've used that excuse when playing video games. This game's cheating. Yes, Tim, the AI is cheating. What a stupid kid I was. Because I use it. And gamers out there, do not lie and say you've never used that excuse.
Yeah.
Because you have.
Mm-hmm.
You've used that excuse with it. Oh, the fucking computer's cheating. The computer can't cheat. It's a computer.
Yeah.
Okay, it only
not
does,
how it works.
It's not how it works. Now there are things like rubber banding where the computer will purposefully. But it's programmed that way. Where especially you see that mostly in racing games, where the computer will purposefully slow to get you ahead, and then once you go, it's almost like a rubber band. Once you go past a certain way, a distance to one of the cars, it'll rubber band, and that car will shoot right past you.
Okay.
You usually see that in racing games.
Okay.
It's mostly earlier racing games. You don't see that as often anymore. Well. Unless you're people like me who are really shitty at racing games and go, this fucking rubber banding is still existing. No, Tim, you just suck at racing games. And I do. I suck at racing games, but I still enjoy them. But anyway, so he also goes on to complain about my career is not getting disconnected, which is the story mode. So that's the only thing he's able to play. It's the only thing I'm able to play and stream for you guys is the story mode. Okay. Like, dude, he goes on to address other. Here he goes. Towards the end of the video, like 10 or so minutes into this 14-minute video, he finally addresses the slot machines.
Okay.
Oh, he does, yes. And he goes, he addresses our feelings and having of how we were having hate. We were the people out there having hate for these slot machines because we don't play the game, so we don't know how the game works. So we're all haters for hating on the slot machines and the roulette wheels, and you're a fucking idiot. You're a fucking idiot. You're a fucking idiot. We're not like
we don't need to know how they work. The fact that they're there is the problem.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
What an idiot.
That's why he's proven as a sellout. And that statement is where I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I literally watched this entire video hoping that you were going to address this. And then when you finally address it, you address it the opposite way and go, that's not even a big deal. And this is why he brings it up. He brought it up as ammunition against 2K to say that because now he's angry at 2K for not fixing things after he and the NBA quote-unquote community had 2K's back over the whole slot machines and things, because when people like me and you complained about it online, these 2K fans were going, that's not what it is. That's not gambling. Those are free, blah, blah, blah. They were defending it. So because you defended 2K, now you feel obligated that they fix the game. I mean, granted, they should fix the game anyway because you paid $60 for a game, but doesn't it sound weird that you paid $60 for a game and it's broken? And isn't that kind of the same thing as when people complain about loot boxes and how I paid $60 for a game that is now charging me every day or month?
Yeah, but he's not going to see it that way because
not at all. He clearly doesn't. He clearly doesn't. And I mean, yeah. So
what an utter fucking child.
We didn't understand 2K. That's the issue with the whole loot box thing. We don't understand them. We don't understand how the NBA 2K games work because we don't play them.
Okay.
So we don't get it.
I don't need to know how a game works to know that there's shitty components.
It's the shitty
to it.
monetization that I don't need to. I need to know. I know how shitty monetization works because I've played enough games that have them. I don't need to play every single game that has shitty monetization to know how that shitty monetization works.
Exactly.
I know that it exists. I know that it's gross, and I know that it's nefarious, and that it doesn't belong in a fully fledged $60 title. It belongs in a free phone game.
Yeah.
That's where it belongs. NBA and 2K. EA, Activision, all those companies, Blizzard, all those companies out there, if you want to make loot boxes a thing, your games should be free. Yeah. Because if you're going to make, especially EA, you make hundreds of millions of dollars.
They make 60% of their income off loot boxes.
Off of loot boxes, your game needs to be free. The next FIFA needs to be a free fucking game.
Isn't that what they said? 60%? It was some ridiculous percentage.
Was like 60 million or something.
Was it 60 million?
I think it was $60 million. It was a stupid amount of money that they fucking made, and it was like off of loot boxes.
Yeah, just loot boxes.
Yeah. So, and then he went on to complain that he can't play the game due to all of the issues. And I wrote ha ha ha, and I underlined that like 1,000 times because I found that so funny. Like, oh, you can't play the game that you spent $60 on because of all of the issues that you're having. Ben faked. Good enough. You fucking deserve that shit.
Yep.
You're a fucking asshole. You and all the other 2K ass kissers who are like, oh, the loop, you don't understand how the boxes work. You don't understand how the slot machines are free and all that stuff's free. It doesn't matter. The fact that you have a broken game is what you get for defending a shitty company like 2K.
Yep.
That's what you get. You fucking So it's not just Cashnasty who's the asshat. It's also I'm also calling out the 2K community.
Yeah.
The 2K20 NBA 2K community.
All the ones that supported it.
All the ones that supported it. I mean, the king of asshats for this week is Cashnasty, but his asshat plebs are the community of the game.
They aren't even listening to people's complaints. People's complaints are that these components are even in the game, period.
Yeah.
And I still do not understand why in an NBA game there's any kind of gambling. That's not even allowed in real NBA.
Yeah.
It's illegal to do that.
It's illegal in the real NBA. Why would it be? Why are you fine with it in your simulated NBA?
Yeah, I don't understand that and why people are okay with it. They're so brainwashed. I'm okay with paying more money because, yeah, those might be free, but they're not. Nothing's free.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he gets what he gets. I don't feel sorry for him.
Oh, I think it's absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, I do too.
I mean, the game's broken. It doesn't work right. That's funny. That's funny. That's very funny.
That's called karma, baby, and not my dog.
Boom.
Boom. All right, well, then that's it, right? That's all we
That
got.
is, yes, that is the ass hat of the week.
I still cannot do it.
I can't.
And I gotta try to find an echo thing.
It's an air horn. I think.
No.
For me to go ass hat of the week.
And then you say it, and then it'll echo it, and then I can snip it in.
Okay.
I'm gonna try.
It's whatever.
Maybe. I don't know. Anyways, find out more about our episodes. You can go to our website at www.geek-lish. We're on Facebook at geek-lish and Twitter at geek_lish. And you can find our episodes on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Blueberry, and YouTube. And coming soon, Pandora. Although we're about 3.5 weeks into a 4 to 6 week turn time.
Yeah.
So it might be
there.
another 3 or 4 weeks before we get on Pandora, but we're heading that way.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to get us there too.
Right.
And I think that's it.
That's all.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening.
Thanks for listening. King me.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Stay nerdy out there.